want love, she just can't accept love, cause I'm having with love. That's keeping her from love, maybe an ex-lover, or could be a father. I don't know, all I can tell how she relates to me. But I would give all of my heart if she would just believe. She don't know love, I love you. And she don't know love is right here. Oh, she don't know love, I love you. Love is far away from the pain that I see in her eyes. But all of that will change when she's mine. It's more than sexual. I'm a reflection of the feeling that's in your soul. It's more than magical. Girl, let me take you on a journey that you should know. Don't let the pain from your past keep you from what you're looking for. I promise to give all my heart. I'm the one that you adore. She don't know. Can you tell when a real man will wanna love you and protect your heart? Don't let your pain destroy love. Oh, pain that I see in her eyes. But all of that will change when she's mine. I can't let you go.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And good morning, YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy blessed Mother's Day to all the mothers in the world. However your mother title was granted to you, happy Mother's Day. You deserve every day is Mother's Day. Every day is also Father's Day, too. Hold on for a second. Somebody just text me. Who is up this early texting me in real life? All my people. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, y'all. All right, I will get back with them later. I am going to do my YouTube thing first for Mother's Day because it's still my day. My daughter was up with me very early this morning, and she gave me this cute little Disney bracelet. It has a little stone. It says Mom. It has a sparkly snowflake. Yeah, I can't read what this thing said. Let me see if I put my glasses on. Can I read this? I've been trying to read it all morning and I just been lazy. And I can't read it. It says, "You're my Diana Ohana." I think it's Ohana. What is that? It means something. Child, I don't know. Anyway, happy Mother's Day, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys their day. If today is a difficult day for you, I pray for your peace, um, and that you just make it through the day, right? Like, it changes over time. Some of us still have moms with us, and some of us don't. And so Mother's Day can either be like a beautiful thing, or it can be just a really difficult day for some people to get through. So whatever phase you are in your journey through life, if this is a difficult time for you, I pray for your peace. If you are still able to celebrate this day, enjoy it. You deserve it. Um, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get started because my YouTube people are probably still asleep. I want to give a shout out to two of my coolest content creators who are kind of in the same space that I am right now on YouTube. Beautiful Shalom, as well as Foxy and Family. And Foxy and Family and Friends. Foxy, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Let me go find y'all. I think I'm gonna find y'all and put y'all in my. I gotta put y'all in my chat or description. I gotta figure that out. I'm not gonna do it right this second. I can't focus. So I would like to finish up chapter 4. This is part 3 because these chapters are really long, but they're so rich with information that as we read through them, the discussions really are like relevant, especially for me on this journey. I am hopefully creating space to bring awareness and understanding to some of what is happening in our universe, in our life, or in your life. And I'm also learning myself. Part of who I am and what I do is I learn a lot of stuff so I can help other people. So this part of my existence on YouTube is dedicated to not just who I am today, it is dedicated to who I am becoming, and a space that in the future will be a reflection of who I was while I was on earth. All right. And so we are in our second Eckhart Tolle book, A New Earth. We are on chapter 4. We're wrapping that up. And I think I'm going to get through a good chunk of chapter 5, but we'll see how that goes. It's almost 6 o'clock. I might make it an hour before my people wake up, but they might not even come on YouTube today because it's Mother's Day and they deserve a break too. Yeah, and I've had some very interesting things happen to me in these past 2 to 3 weeks or so. And we'll see if the book gets me to talk about them. If not, you just got to wait until it's that proper time. Everything that happens doesn't need to be revealed. Some things need to kind of just, they blossom and then you see what it sprouts into. So we'll see. So chapter 4, role playing the many faces of the ego. We are picking up, and I'm sorry if y'all hear that dog outside. I got neighbors that just leave the babies outside all night. And yeah, my window is open because it's still cool in the morning here. And I like to have the air on and the windows open. Don't ask me why. It's just a thing. When I'm in my car, my windows are down and the air is on when it's hot outside. It's just how I live life. I like the duality of the things. Yeah. So we are picking up with work with and without ego. Most people have moments when they are free of ego. Those who are exceptionally good at what they do may be completely or largely free of ego while performing their work. That is where I am trying to get to. Because, yeah, the adults, you have to kind of, you got to let your ego not be the lead in what I do. You really have to balance your own energy when you are working with grownups. And that is something new that I'm learning. To balance me so I can help you guys, so that they can be the best versions of themselves for the children. They may not know it, but their work has become a spiritual practice. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I know it. Let me tell y'all something. See, this is how this universe does absolutely work. I'm going to pull it up here. Yesterday, I made a Facebook post. And this is like perfect. I made a Facebook post. Oh my goodness. Look at the universe doing its thing. I made a Facebook post and it literally says, listen to this. I finally figured out an organized chaos way to explain what I do professionally. I am a K-12 administrator. And it says, I work on being my best self so that I can lead others to become their best selves. I learn a lot so that I can teach others. My work starts with me. I literally get paid to do what I love. I get paid to do me. And this is kind of affirming that. Hello and good morning. We on live. Good morning. How are you today? I know you're going to have some wonderful experiences I think you're married, for your wife today for Mother's Day. Enjoy. I hope she enjoys as well. I don't know if your mom is still with us, but if so, I hope mom gets to enjoy. And if not, peace to you and to your family. So I'm going to read this again. OMG, my post yesterday was so on point. Most people have moments when they are free of ego. Those who are exceptionally good at what they do may be completely or largely free of ego while performing their work. They may not know it, but their work has become a spiritual practice. Yes. Most of them are present while they do their work and fall back into relative unconsciousness in their private life. This means their state of presence is for the time being confined to one area of their life. I have met teachers, artists, nurses, doctors, scientists, social workers, waiters, hairdressers, business owners, and salespeople who perform their work admirably without any self-seeking, fully responding to whatever the moment requires of them. Y'all, this is me at work for real. I think that's why, like, when I get off of work, I just can come home and sit still and not talk, not do anything, because it's like I have to download the day, because it's just so much that happens in an administrator's day. It's like a Pandora's box. Every day I have things that I know I'm supposed to do, but life's at work. They are one with what they do, one with the now, one with the people or the task that they serve. The influence such people have upon others goes far beyond the function they perform. That is why I describe my work. I do a lot more than the way I described it. Like I go to school, I collect data, I do this, I teach kids, I go do evaluations. But besides all of that stuff, literally, I work on being a better version of myself so that I can help the adults be the best versions of themselves. I show up every day to work just to be a reflection of what I want to see my staff be, literally. And it's for kids. At the beginning and the end of every day, I show up for kids. That is my gift. I've known it since I was a young child. 13 years old, I started teaching. I've known it for a really long time. I'm sorry. So, peace to that part. I know it's got to be hard. I haven't gotten on that journey yet. My mom's still with me, but we are transitioning into a different part of our journey together, and it's been beautiful. Being able to take care of my mother, like to literally consciously care for her on a daily basis. All we're going to do today is she just wanted to barbecue. So she told my brother, she didn't ask him. She told my brother, we coming over your house and we going to barbecue for Mother's Day. So that is going to be our Mother's Day later on this afternoon. So peace to you in that area of consciousness. And yeah. All right. They bring about a lessening of the ego in everyone who comes into contact with them. I try. I got some big egos at my job, though. Big egos that don't believe I've been there long enough to really like say things. You know what I'm saying about what they do? I'm like, child, I've collected the data. I look at data. That is how I live my entire life. My son has become very aware of the data that I collect about him, his sister, our relationship, how I make moves with them. Other people might call it other things. I call it data. I observe, I take notes, I take mental notes, I take written notes. I could write a book about the experience that I've had this year as an administrator in a very different type of space. Even people with heavy egos sometimes begin to relax, let down their guard, and stop playing their roles when they interact with them. Some of the energies that I've encountered at work, when they come to me one-on-one, their egos are still there. They haven't mastered that part of themselves. But because I won't match their energy and I stay calm, um, it makes them uncomfortable, I think. They want to have a back and forth. I don't do back and forths. I listen. I can tell you that I hear you, and I can tell you that I disagree with what you're saying, and we can agree to disagree and still stand firm in decisions that I make. It comes as no surprise that those people who work without ego are extraordinarily successful at what they do. Anybody who is one with what he or she does is building the new earth. Am I building the new earth? I hope so. Like, that is an honor to me, if indeed that is what is happening. I feel like it could be. Yeah, I feel like it could be. I was going to share something, but I'm not ready to share that yet. I have also met many others who may be technically good at what they do, but whose ego constantly sabotages their work. Only part of their attention is on the work they perform. The other part is on themselves. Their ego demands personal recognition and wastes energy and resentment if it doesn't get enough. And it's never enough. Is someone else getting more recognition than me? Or their main focus of attention is profit or power, and their work is no more than a means to that end. When work is no more than a means to an end, it cannot be of high quality. When obstacles or difficulties arise in their work, when things don't go according to expectation, when other people or circumstances are not helpful or cooperative, instead of immediately becoming one with the new situation and responding to the requirements of the present moment, they react against the situation and so separate themselves from it. There is a me that feels personally offended or resentful, and a huge amount of energy is burned up in useless protest or anger. Energy that could be used for solving the situation if it were not being misused by the ego. What is more, this anti energy creates new obstacles, new opposition. Many people are truly their own worst enemy. I think I shared this. I had a interview recently, and I work with a lot of I, me energy, which is basically a lot of ego-centered energy. And we all have egos. I am not free of ego. We're human beings and we have ego. But when you do work, and work is, for me, helping children become the best versions of themselves, you can't have I, me, egoic energy. That's just my personal belief. And because I work with a lot of I, me, egoic energy, it is hard, because if you don't come to me about the children and you come to me about your own personal I, me energy that won't benefit children at the end of the day, I don't like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, it's about the kids for me. Really, like, literally. I know that for sure. At the beginning and the end, they are my number one stakeholder, children. Okay, moving on. People unknowingly sabotage their own work when they withhold help or information from others or try to undermine them lest they become more successful or get more credit than me. Cooperation is alien to the ego, except when there is a secondary motive. The ego doesn't know that the more you include others, the more smoothly things flow and the more easily things come to you. When you give little or no help to others or put obstacles in their path, the universe, in the form of people and circumstances, gives little or no help to you because you have cut yourself off from the whole. The ego's unconscious core feeling of not enough causes it to react to someone else's success as if that success had taken something away from me. It doesn't know that your sentiment of another person's success curtails your own chances of success. In order to attract success, you need to welcome it whenever you see it. The ego in illness. An illness can either strengthen or weaken the ego. If you complain, feel self pity, or resent being ill, your ego becomes stronger because you've identified yourself with this illness, right? We've learned that already. It also becomes stronger if you make the illness part of your conceptual identity, basically. I am this sickness, I am this thing, you are not. I am a sufferer of such and such a disease. So now we know who you are. Some people, on the other hand, who in normal life have a big ego, suddenly become gentle and kind and much nicer people when they are ill. They may gain insights they may never have had in their normal life. They may access their inner knowing and commitment and speak words of wisdom. Then, when they get better, energy returns, and so does the ego. When you are ill, your energy level is quite low, and the intelligence of the organism may take over and use the remaining energy for the healing of the body. And so there is not enough left for the mind. That is to say, egoic thinking and emotion. The ego burns up considerable amounts of energy. In some cases, however, the ego retains the little energy that remains and uses it for its own purpose. Needless to say, those people who experience a strengthening of the ego in illness take much longer to recover. Some never do, and so the illness becomes chronic and a permanent part of their false sense of self. The collective ego. How hard is it to live with yourself? One of the ways in which the ego attempts to escape the unsatisfactoriness of personal selfhood is to enlarge and strengthen its sense of self by identifying with a group, a nation, a political party, corporation, institution, sect, club, gang, football team, or whatever else exists. Sorority, fraternity, your friend groups, your mommy club, your dad's hangout, whatever it is, that is your identifier. Sorry, y'all. In some cases, the personal ego seems to dissolve completely as someone dedicates his or her life to working selflessly for the greater good of the collective without demanding personal rewards, recognition, or aggrandizement. Child, y'all know I get tripped up on the big words sometimes. What a relief to be free of the dreadful burden of personal self. The members of the collective feel happy and fulfilled, no matter how hard they work, how many sacrifices they make. They appear to have gone beyond ego. The question is, have they truly become free, or has the ego simply shifted from the personal to the collective? When people say they will put their lives on the line for this held belief, is it because your collective ego now says this thing is what matters most? Yes. You found other people. What do we call it on YouTube? Trauma bonding, where y'all gang up on people or get with other people in a space where you really don't even know these people, and because y'all all don't like this person or have an issue with this person, y'all gang up and get information. We're gonna take them down, we're gonna strike their chat, like y'all do all kind of stuff. That is an ego. You have manifested a collective ego, and you are now operating in a singular thought of We don't like you. This makes me feel better. I've identified with this person or this thing. A collective ego manifests the same characteristics as the personal ego, such as the need for conflict and enemies, pretty much. We see it on YouTube every single day. The need for more, the need to be right against others who are wrong, and so on. This happened at my job. They didn't believe that I had been vetted properly to get the position that I have. So they decided to write a letter to say what they thought should happen for a position that was just posted. And finally, somebody came into my office to share that with me. And I told them I thought it was, first of all, everything is happening exactly the way that it is supposed to. I thought it was interesting that this type of letter was drafted without anybody asking me what my process was like. Because little did they know, it was a very extensive process. It was even a process, I believe I shared a lot of it with my YouTube family when I was going through the interview process last year. It was stressful AF. It was 2 rounds of, girl, a lot of people talking to me, asking me questions about a lot of things to do a job that I had kind of done, but not fully done. Like when you are going to the next level to get a position that you haven't done, like how do you move from one position and grow into a different position, right? You don't have the experience. You have to speak as if you do. You have to speak as if you know what to do, but you really don't. You haven't lived that experience. So you have to have confidence. You have to have knowledge. You have to have a knowledge base that says, even though I haven't done these things, I am aware of what needs to be done. And I'm also aware of the things that I need to work on personally so that when I get this position, I will be the best version, the most effective version of myself to get this job done. Good morning, Gordo. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go back to the beginning of this paragraph. A collective ego manifests the same characteristics as the personal ego, such as the need for conflict and enemies, the need for more, the need to be right against others who are wrong, and so on. Sooner or later, the collective will come into conflict with other collectives because it unconsciously seeks conflict and it needs opposition to define its boundary and thus its identity. All these people on YouTube, child, going back and forth with each other, exposing each other. What they call it, what's the word? Doxing each other. Child, y'all have collected some terrible, y'all energy is just toxic AF. But I will say this. One of the things I've learned is that everything is happening exactly the way that it is supposed to. So if that is the energy that you've absorbed, if this collective ego makes you feel like you are doing what you're supposed to do while you are a part of this earthly experience, it's happening exactly the way it is supposed to. We can't judge it. It's not for us to judge. This energy has always existed on Earth. We just get to see it up close now because we can tune into social media spaces. But the energy's always existed. It's existed since biblical times. If you read your Bible, people ganged up against Jesus. So how you think people ain't gonna gang up against you? Child, please, right? Like people be in the background conspiring. Your best friends can doubt you. Your best friends can rat you out. It just is what it is. This is not a new thing. You just get to choose. You have enough information to choose. But some of us, and I'm not perfect, I have grown into this version of me. I've been a part of the petty bus. I still have petty ways. My children told me I was the queen of petty. I was like, no. A friend of mine recently was like, your petty is deep. I was like, no, not on purpose, right? It's just that how you use that energy, if you let it become a collective energy, it can destroy you as well. So don't think that just because you out here exposing people, cussing people out, putting people in their place, it's coming back to get you too. The energy reciprocates itself. It doesn't go in a one-way direction. It's universal energy. So all the energy that you put out into the world is coming back. I promise you. I've lived enough to know. I've gotten some terrible energy my way. I've gotten some beautiful energy though. And this part of life, it's all good. Even the stuff that I don't like, I find joy in all of the energy. Its members will then experience the suffering that inevitably comes in the wake of any ego-motivated action. At that point, they may wake up and realize that their collective has a strong element of insanity. That collective negative energy also is laced with insanity. It can be painful at first to suddenly wake up and realize that the collective you had identified with and worked for is actually insane. Mic dropped. Insanity. Some people at that point become cynical or bitter and henceforth deny all values, all worth. This means that they quickly adopted another belief system when the previous one was recognized as illusory and therefore collapsed. They didn't face the death of their ego, but ran away and reincarnated into a new one. I think when that staff member walked in my office and tried to tell me some things, and I said, everything is happening exactly the way that it is supposed to. And that's okay. I don't know that they identified their own ego. I think they probably went back to the collective and tried to reframe. But at that moment, I knew I had poked holes in whatever direction that they were going. Because I am clear visioned about this part of life. There is nothing that is happening in this moment, every single moment, that's not supposed to happen. Everything that is happening exactly. I have been wrestling with a concept that one of my favorite YouTube creators threw out: permissive will versus perfect will. There is a permissive will of God and there is a perfect will of God, right? We are, as human beings, permitted to do whatever we want to do. We have free will. Angels don't, other creatures don't. But human beings, because of our consciousness, we are allowed to do whatever the fuck we want to do. It just is what it is. That is the permissive will of God. As I was, wrestling between, help me understand, how is it permitted that I can do whatever I want to do, but it's not perfect? And I finally woke up within my own self. It is. The permissive will of God is also the perfect will of God. Because every single thing that you are allowed to do, God already knew you were going to do it. Every single thing that is happening, God already knew it was going to happen. The universe is very aware of what it is going to evolve here. It is also the perfect will of God. I had to find that for myself. And you can debate me. You can tell me that I'm wrong. But there is nothing happening that is not supposed to happen. Good morning, Foxy. How are you today? Happy Mother's Day, boo. Happy Mother's Day to you. How are you? So yes, I think I circled that square finally. The permissive will of God is also the perfect will of God. You are permitted to do whatever the fuck you want to do while you are on this earth. There are consequences to your actions, but that is also the perfect will of God. Mhm. All of the things that are happening are supposed to happen exactly the way that they are. And if that is true, which it is, permissive is also perfect. So that's what I thought. That's what I taught myself. A collective ego is usually more unconscious than the individuals that make up that ego. For example, crowds, which are temporary collective egoic entities, are capable of committing atrocities that the individual away from the crowd would not be. Nations not infrequently engage in behavior that would be immediately recognizable as psychopathic in an individual. As the new conscious emerges, some people will feel called upon to form groups that reflect the enlightened consciousness. These groups will not be collective egos. The individuals who make up these groups will have no need to define their identity through them. They no longer look to any form to define who they are, even if the members that make up those groups are not totally free of ego yet. There will be enough awareness in them to recognize the ego in themselves or in others as soon as it appears. However, constant alertness is required since the ego will try to take over and reassert itself in any way it can, dissolving the human ego by bringing it into the light of awareness. This will be one of the main purposes of these groups, whether they be enlightened businesses, charitable organizations, schools, or communities of people living together. Enlightened collectives will fulfill an important function in the arising of the new consciousness. Just as egoic collectives pull you into unconsciousness and suffering, the enlightened collective can be a vortex for consciousness that will accelerate the planetary shift. Incontrovertible proof of immortality. Ego comes about through a split in the human psyche in which identity separates into two parts that we will call I and me, or me and myself. I just told y'all earlier, I work with a lot of people that start their campaign with I, me, my. It is never a collective what's best for all. It is, I didn't like how you did that. We didn't think. I'm concerned. We're worried that. Somebody asked me. The whole conversation was negative, negative, negative. And then they finally said, well, what do you think? How do you feel about this? And I smiled. It is going to be absolutely amazing or absolutely beautiful, one of my words. And I meant it. Because everything before they finally asked me my opinion was their, oh, woe is me. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so worried about this because. And I listened. I took notes. I heard. And then they finally said, well, what do you think about this? I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And they looked at me so confused, like, what? Didn't you just hear anything I said? I heard everything you said. And all of those things absolutely could be a factor. However, I don't see life like that. That is not how I view the world. I view the world as half full, not half empty. And if we can all just shift the way we approach change, we might get more good from it than all of the woe is me behind it. But that's just me. Every ego is therefore schizophrenic. Yes, that's a good word. I like that. Y'all is crazy as fuck. To use the word in its popular meaning of split personality. You live with a mental image of yourself, a conceptual self that you have a relationship with. Life itself becomes conceptualized and separated from who you are when you speak of my life. The moment you say or think my life and believe in what you are saying rather than it just being a linguistic convention, you have entered the realm of delusion because you think you can control the fuck everything. So those things that you don't feel like you can control, girl, you is delusional. Stop it. If there is such a thing as my life, it follows that I and life are two separate things. And so I can also lose my life, my imaginary treasure possession, all of this fake shit. All of this stuff is not really real, y'all. That's a whole nother discussion. Me and my son be right there with each other. Like, he'd be like, I know it's not real, Mom, but I still like all the things. As long as you know, boo, as long as you know. Death becomes a seeming reality and a threat. Death is not a threat. It's a transition, child. It is a guaranteed transition. We was all born because we gonna all die. Like, girl, boy, it just is what it ain't. We all gonna be up out of here one day. Words and concepts split life into separate segments that have no reality in themselves. We could even say that the notion, my life, is not your life. But okay. Is the original delusion of separateness, the source of ego. If I and life are two, if I am separate from life, then I am separate from all things, all beings, all people. But how could I be separate from life? What I could there be apart from life, apart from being? And it is utterly impossible. So there is no such thing as my life. And I don't have a life. I am life. I am. I am that I am. We've gone through this. You are. I am, y'all. Stop separating yourself from everything around you. You are earth. You are wind. You are fire. You are pure, unadulterated energy. You are consciousness. We all are. We all get to experience this part together. That's it. That's all. We are all here strategically at the same time, encountering the same space. I and life are one. It cannot be otherwise. So how could I lose my life? How can I lose something that I don't have in the first place? How can I lose something that I am? It is impossible. All right. I said I was going to read a bit of chapter 5. I'm going to get started. I think I'm okay. I don't have my tea today. I do have some water. I'm going to get started. We'll see if I get through all of the parts. I don't think so because I'm already at 45 minutes and my ADHD clock runs out before 2 hours. I think I did 2 hours last time. I'm not doing 2 hours today. It's Mother's Day. And I got to go work out still. And so, yeah. But I'm going to get into chapter 5 and then we'll see how far I get. Hold on one second, y'all. I gotta do a couple things over here. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. All right. The Painbody, chapter 5. The greater part of most people's thinking is involuntary, automatic, and repetitive. You're telling yourself stories in your head. It is no more than a kind of mental static and fulfills no real purpose. Strictly speaking, you don't think. Thinking happens to you. The statement, I think, implies volition. It implies that you have a say in the matter, that there is choice involved on your part. For most people, this is not yet the case. I think is just as false a statement as I digest or I circulate my blood. Digestion happens, circulation happens, thinking happens. So it's not that I think. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around this, y'all. I'm learning with y'all on this one. The thinking is just happening. It's not that that's weird to me, right? Like, because I'm a student. I'm a student and I'm a teacher. I learn a lot so I can teach other people a lot. So the thinking is just involuntary, just like digestion is involuntary. A bowel movement or urinating is involuntary. It's going to happen. So the thinking process is not something that you are. But then I'm still stuck. Like if I'm learning something and the teacher asks me like a critical thinking question, I think deeper about a thing, right? Let's read more. Maybe that'll help clear up because I'm confused on this one right here. The voice in the head has a life of its own. Most people are at the mercy of that voice. They are possessed by thought, by the mind. And since the mind is conditioned by the past, you are then forced to reenact the past again and again. The Eastern term for this is karma. When you are identified with that voice, you don't know this. Of course, if you knew it, you would no longer be possessed because you are only truly possessed when you mistake the possessing entity for who you are. That is to say, when you become it. For thousands of years, humanity has been increasingly mind possessed, failing to recognize the possessing entity as not self. I think I got it. Okay, so I had an interview, and one of the questions centered around like, what do you do when like you're working with somebody and you don't agree with maybe a decision that they make, right? And I think my response was along the lines of, well, first I cuss and fuss in my head. That's my ego. Yep, that is my ego. I cuss and fuss in my head. And then after I allow myself to cuss and fuss in my head, I be. I've learned to just be and to accept, number one, everything is happening exactly the way that it is supposed to. Number two, I don't know everything. And maybe the way that I thought, the thinking, something should have went down. Maybe the other person has more information than me. Maybe they know the the players better than I do. And maybe they still could be wrong. Maybe they should have listened to me, but they get to learn from their mistakes too, right? Like it's still a process. And so once you can just be and let life do what it's supposed to do and get out of your own thinking head, being becomes really easy. But again, I still go through my egoic phases because I'm thinking about things inside of my head. And the thoughts aren't always very nice because I'm cussing and fussing. I'm irritated. I'm still a human being. You all are still going to have human emotions behind life doing what it does best, just doing life. It is our duty to tap into who we are so that we can grow past those initial human emotions and grow into just allowing life to happen, allowing things to be. Through complete identification with the mind, a false sense of self, the ego came into existence. The density of the ego depends on the degree to which you and consciousness are identified with your mind, with thinking. Thinking is no more than a tiny aspect of the totality of the consciousness, the totality of who you are. The degree of identification with the mind differs from person to person. Some people enjoy periods of freedom from it, however brief, and the peace, joy, and aliveness they experience in those moments make life worth living. That is me on vacation. Oh, when I get to just pack up and leave and go away and just be, no agenda, no responsibilities. I don't got to drive nowhere. I don't got to worry about what I'm eating. I can work out for as long as I want to work out that day. I could just do whatever I want to do and be a grown up, right? That is when I live my best life. I really do. These are also the moments when creativity, love, and compassion arise. Others are constantly trapped in the egoic state. They are alienated from themselves as well as from others and the world around them. When you look at them, you may see the tension in their face, perhaps the, the furrowed brow, that brow, or the absent or staring expression in their eyes. Most of their attention is absorbed by thinking, and so they don't really see you, and they are not really listening to you. They are not present in any situation, their attention being either in the past or future, which, of course, exists only in the mind as thought forms, or they relate to you through some kind of role they play and so are not themselves. Most people are alienated from who they are, and some are alienated to such a degree that the way they behave and interact is recognized as phony by almost everyone except those who are equally phony, equally alienated from who they are. Alienation means you don't feel at ease in any situation, any place, or with any person, not even yourself. You are always trying to get home, but never feel at home. Some of the greatest writers of the 17th century, such as Frank Kafka, Albert Camus, T.S. Eliot, and James Joyce, recognized alienation as the universal dilemma of human existence, probably felt it deeply within themselves, and so were able to express it brilliantly in their works. They don't offer a solution. Their contribution is to show us a reflection of the human predicament so that we can see it more clearly. To see one's predicament clearly is a first step toward going beyond it. That is an introduction to chapter 5. And that is where I'm going to stop. So we're almost at an hour. It is Mother's Day, and I want to work out before my day gets started. So I am going to bid you adieu. I wish you a very happy Mother's Day. When I come back next week or whenever, I'm trying to think my next weekend. I think I can come back next weekend for sure. We are going to continue with chapter 5, the Painbody, the birth of emotion, emotions and the ego, the duck with the human mind, carrying the past, individual and collective, how the pain body renews itself, how the pain body feeds on your thoughts, how the pain body feeds on trauma, dense pain bodies, entertainment, the media, and the pain body, the collective female pain body, national and racial pain bodies. And that's it. So we are going to hopefully get through chapter 5. It is about 30 pages. So we'll see. You all know my attention span is short. Today is shorter because I'm not giving y'all 2 hours. That's it. That's all. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our reading. We finished up chapter 4 finally. Yay! I will see you next week, God willing. In the meantime and in between time, be at peace. Be at one. Remember, you are consciousness. You are awareness. Everything is happening exactly the way that it is supposed to. The only person, the only being you have any control over is you. You have no control over your children. You have no control over your besties, over your husband, over your girlfriend, or anybody else. You get to control you, your energy, your light, or your darkness. It is all up to you. I love you. Have a blessed day. And happy Mother's Day again. Mwah! To all of the mothers, I love you. And finally, don't forget 2 of my favorite YouTubers right now, Foxy and Family and Beautiful Shalom. Tune in. I love you all. Peace.